I think it's about April, and I'm here in an old radio station I found on the outskirts of the city. Came in here looking for some food, water, tools, and, well, best I found was this old beat up recorder. Not the ideal piece of equipment for me right now, but if my suspicions are correct, I might as well leave something behind for when they finally get me. Well, that is if there is anyone out there who can pick this back up. But let me start from the beginning, or what I think is the beginning. They seem to have come a few weeks ago in force, and there's nothing left, it seems, or I should say no one left. I can't even tell if I'm the last person left. It's just silence out there. It looks like the entirety of the population just up and disappeared. Almost makes a guy believe he was left out of something big. Most places I've stopped to look for supplies seem in relative good condition, like the tenants just walked out like it was another normal day. This is saved from a few spots, where there's obvious signs of a struggle, a futile attempt to break away from their grasp, the decor strewn across the floors, walls spattered with blood and desperate clawing, broken furniture, and lobbed odds and ends, signaling the end of a sad, lost struggle. I suppose I should elaborate, but I don't even know the full details myself. All I can recall happening was all of a sudden these tall creatures, something resembling siren towers but with human limbs, started appearing in wooded areas or up deep within the mountains. Photos from hikers and campers began to surface online, but were dismissed on grounds of doctored images, with comments just commending the uploaders and their convincing photoshopping skills. A couple of months went by, then people out there began to disappear. One or two hikers would go, dismissed as animal attacks or accidents. Same with the campers. Their sites were just left as if they never even bothered to take their belongings back with them. Of course, people began asking questions. If this was an animal attack, shouldn't there be tracks? Claw marks? Blood even? Well, the Inquisitors were of course ignored, until these things started appearing closer to towns, and then closer to cities. That's when the government finally issued some statements and mobilized some protection. Just vague, you'll be alright statements, and really, for a city of my scale, we only got 4 jeeps and about 24 men. And it was something, I suppose. I remember the first newscasts, these shots of these massive creatures just walking the outskirts of cities, disappearing and reappearing in the mists that always followed them. It was like they were scouting, seeing. This went on for about 3 weeks, and people just started to believe they were harmless. Then, these tall things, I've taken to calling them the Tower Men, finally made their move. In droves, they came into the towns and the cities, grabbing folks and disappearing as fast as they would show. Dozens of them phasing in, unleashing siren-resembling shrieks loud enough to deafen and ground those nearby. Grabbing the incapacitated or just killing their prey where they sat. I panicked. I remembered that my grandparents, before they passed, owned a farm just outside of the city. My grandpa himself was a bit of a conspiracy theorist, so he had built a bunker in the basement. I still had an old key to the place, even though it had been foreclosed for, well, going on 3 years now. I grabbed as much canned goods and bottled water as I could fit in my Civic, and then bolted. I drove, never looking back, never looking behind, fearing that I would see one of their massive hands coming down at me. I managed to make it to the farm, and I locked myself beneath the ground. I lost track of time, mostly after my phone died, and being there were no outlets or lamps or anything down there, I was left in the dark, both figuratively and literally. I was finally forced out after what I would wager would be about 3 weeks, and After my eyes readjusted to finally seeing light again, I looked around. The farm made life seem still so normal. I began to question myself for a moment, thinking, was it all a dream? Was this just another fever dream? Well, those concerns were quickly quelled as I moved closer to the highway. Crashed cars, broken glass, littered the concrete, and worst of all, there seemed to be bloodstains of dragged bodies. I didn't want to restart my car for fear if they might have heard the engine or something, so I just began to walk towards the city I fled from. I needed supplies, and, well, at the time it seemed best. To say I was nauseated that walk would be an understatement, but I'll spare you the details of that. I've only been back in the city about a day, going on 2 now, but it's nothing like it used to be. The bustling streets empty, not even the coos of the pigeons echoing in the air. It's pure silence in this place. Homes empty, shops abandoned, cars littering the roads with no driver to move them. It's a bona fide ghost town, and my biggest fear is that the world echoes this empty concrete maze. My name is Eddie Gray, and I think I'm the last man on Earth.